Welcome everyone to the Hecatesdoorway podcast.
Welcome everyone.
We are your hosts. My name is Brandon.
And I'm Gabriel.
And today...
it's going to be a fun day.
Today is going to be gross. If you're going to the butcher shop... I don't know why I said that. Do butcher shops even exist anymore? I don't think they do.
No, they do. There's butcher shops everywhere.
Really?
They still got to butcher the meat.
Well, do people go to them to like buy the meat, or you just go to fucking Hagen's now?
No, you can go to...
Oh.
You can go, there's still like many Mexican stores that have their own butchery in there.
Shows what I know.
Like there's one called like Gloria still has a butcher shop. They just get their meat, they cut it up and whatnot.
And that brings us today's sponsor.
Nope. No sponsor.
I wish.
That'd be funny as fuck, though.
Today's episode is sponsored by meat shops. No, okay, that's not fucking around. Today we are talking about the Cleveland torso murders.
Very spooky stuff.
Some spooky shit. It's a little gross.
We should preface this with saying that this episode is going to be kind of fucked up.
It'll be kind of fucked up.
So if you can't take some of the stuff we're about to say, you've been warned. If
you can't handle this, it's gonna be bumpy from here on out because it's only gonna get worse from here. we got some stuff in store that's gonna be pretty fucked compared to this.
Yeah, we have another one that we've been working on, and holy fuck, is it depressing?
Just wait for it. For those of you who don't know, the Cleveland torso murders were an unsolved string of brutal murders taking place in the area of Kingsbury Run, Cleveland, from 1934 to 1938. This unknown killer took a total of 13 victims, 7 men and 6 women, and of these 13, only 3 were identified. His victims were all either vagrants, sex workers, or had some connection with an area east of Kingsbury Run known as the Roaring Third. The Roaring Third was best known for its bars, gambling dens, and brothels.
Ooh.
So, you know, great
spots. Best spots.
Good spots.
Best places. 5 out of 5. Would kill again.
Great place to find some victims.
Oh, man.
Now, the reason these are called the torso murders, and the killer subsequently called the torso murderer, is because all of his victims were dismembered in a variety of ways. In most cases, only the torso and small body parts were found. In every case, they were decapitated. And in most of them, the heads were never found.
Damn.
Yeah. And don't forget, this is Depression era. So there is a lot of homeless people because I think most people were homeless at this point.
Yeah, for obvious reasons. Most of us should know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and apparently Cleveland had. I don't know if this really ties in, but I think it's worth mentioning. A character we'll bring up later came to Cleveland to help clean up the corruption in the police force. So there's that there too.
Was it Batman?
No, it was Gordon.
Jim Gordon.
God, they really could use Batman in this.
You would help solve them.
Mm-hmm.
On September 5th, 1934, an unidentified woman, possibly in her 30s, was found on the shore of Lake Erie. Quick fact, this murder is also known as the Lake Erie murders.
Yeah, a lot of them were found on Lake Erie or in it, so I guess that does make sense.
Yeah, I didn't know that till after. Ooh, take a drink. Sip.
This is my third can in the last 2 minutes.
Nice. Let's see. Her torso, thighs, and other body parts were all over. All that was left of her. Her head was never found. Her skin was also red and leathery from some sort of chemical preservative. The lack of blood evidence in most of these scenes suggests these bodies were killed elsewhere and left to be discovered.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that happens on pretty much all of them.
Gotta wonder if they were all alive as they were chopping them up, or did he kill them?
No, they. I believe the coroners were able to confirm that just about all of them were killed by decapitation.
Shit.
Yeah, well, I mean, which isn't much solace, but yeah, no, that's how they were all killed.
Yeah, it could have died a lot of painful ways.
September 23rd, 1935. The first victim to be identified was discovered. 28-year-old hospital orderly Edward Androsci. His body was found just outside of Kingsbury Run at the base of Jackass Hill. What a place to die. Androsci was known to frequent the Roaring Third, which gives him the connection. He had been decapitated and emasculated. This happens a couple times. The killer just rips out the dick and balls.
Rips it all out.
Yeah. The body was naked, except for a pair of socks. I don't know why, but he left the socks on.
Means no homo.
Well, I mean, he was grabbing his dick. He had to grab his dick to cut it off, so he had to leave.
Fair enough.
Okay, we got it. Now we know why he left his socks on. His body had also been cleaned and drained of blood. Rope burns on the wrists were also visible. His head had later been found as well. And later the same day, another body had been found in the same area, though this one was never identified beyond that of knowing it had been a man in his 40s. His body had also been decapitated and emasculated. His body was also red from the same chemicals used on the first victim, and his head was also recovered. While Androsci was estimated to have been dead for a few days before discovery, the unknown man had been dead for at least a week earlier.
Damn.
So
the killer could be getting off on this shit too.
That's one thing I really tried to figure out. I don't think there was a sexual component to this.
I mean, he tied them up. It seems like there's some BDSM that might have been involved, but who knows? That's
what I'm trying to think. But usually, when it comes to serial killers who are like sexually motivated, they have a type. You know, like they always go after,
right.
Like Jeffrey Dahmer only went after like black and Filipino boys.
Yeah.
Fucking Bundy went after women that looked exactly like the woman that rejected him. Gacy only wanted boys.
Yeah.
This guy, he's killed men and women of all sorts of different races, which makes me think it's not sexually motivated. But then it makes me wonder, why the fuck did he cut off their dick and balls?
Maybe he has a sign of some sort.
I don't know.
Some kind of... Maybe to prove something to someone or someone else.
Probably. There's definitely probably some kind of like masculine issues going on here.
Yeah. On January 26, 1936, dismembered body of Florence Palio was discovered. Her body parts had been wrapped up in newspaper and stuffed into 2 half Brussels baskets left outside of the heart manufacturing building. Everything but her head had been found, and it was said the killer had waited for rigor mortis to set in before he began dismembering the body. Palio was a witness and a waitress, and a sex worker who operated in the Roaring Third.
June 5th, 1936. The head of a man was found wrapped up in a pair of pants by the East 55th Street Bridge. The next day, the body was discovered outside the Nickel Plate Railroad Police Building. This victim was unable to be identified beyond being a male and somewhere in his 20s. The corpse was fully intact, aside from the head, and this one was also cleaned and drained of blood.
I seriously wonder what the fuck he did with the parts that he kept, though. Was he making a Frankenstein monster?
No, I really want to know. It's weird because... honestly kind of a good question because he seems to be kind of selective.
Yeah.
Because some of these bodies you find all their pieces, some of them you don't. Most of them you don't find the head. So he has like fucking what,
A
10
collection.
heads?
Someone somewhere out there right now has their entire body parts hidden somewhere. They
Yeah.
either know about it or don't.
It's crazy that these haven't been discovered. Like, I mean, I know the killer was never properly identified, but you think, like, the rest of these body parts would be discovered at some point.
I guess so, but I mean, what are they gonna start looking for?
I don't know. I mean,
Without solid lead, investigators can't do anything other than chase their own tails.
I guess so. That's just so crazy. But yeah, it only gets worse from here.
July 22nd, 1936, the unidentified body of a man in his 40s was discovered in the woods by Clinton Road. He had been dead for about 2 months, and bloodstains on the ground indicate that, unlike the prior victims, this man had been killed in the same place he had been discovered. His dead and a pile of bloody clothes were discovered nearby. You mean his head?
Oh, yeah, that should be his head.
Fucking typos. His head and a pile of bloody clothes were discovered nearby. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, this one's a weird one because I think this is the only one where there's evidence that they were killed right there. All of the other ones, there's no blood evidence or anything on the spot where the bodies are found, so they're all dumped. This is the only one where there's blood on the ground.
Damn.
Some people think this one isn't one of the torso murders because of that, but I feel like this is right in the middle of all the torso murders, and he was decapitated. I don't think that there's two people decapitating people running around at the same time.
But I hope not. Oh, no.
Yeah. I mean, no, you couldn't say that. I was going to say you could think that maybe he had accomplices, but I think this is too specific to have accomplices.
Yeah. This man had some kind of agenda going on. Man, woman, whatever. Some kind of agenda, and they were very picky about what they wanted.
It's really weird. I wonder what the fuck he was doing. Like, the simplest and the most rational explanation is probably that there was no reason. He wasn't doing this for any reason. He was just doing it
for
to
the sake of killing.
Mm-hmm. But you gotta wonder, maybe.
Yeah.
September 10th, 1936. Another unidentified male body is discovered by the train tracks in Kingsbury Run. The upper half of the torso had been initially discovered, and after police searched the area, they recovered the lower half and parts of his legs in a nearby pool. So they had to dive into the pool. The police sent in a diver to recover the body parts, and it was said that a group of nearly 600 people came to watch the ordeal.
Fuck.
You know, because true crime has only been popular now, you know.
Yeah.
It was never popular back then. No.
You gotta wonder if the killer might have been among those 600.
Absolutely. I would put money on it.
Yeah.
I would put money on whoever killed Elizabeth Short was there at least one of the fucking funeral or something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, he was definitely there. And by this point, the time between the kills and the victim numbers were increasing quickly. And while newspapers were reporting on this almost daily, the police were no closer to a suspect. The pressure had been mounting on the police to make a breakthrough, and Safety Director Elliot Ness became more involved in the case. The coroner, police, and other experts meet to go over the case and the facts and attempt to profile the killer. Detectives Peter Murillo and Martin Zalewski come into the case full time. At some points, they went in disguise. This is one of my favorites. So, they go in disguise as transients, try to get all the information they can. And by the end of the case, they were determined to have interviewed over 1,500 people.
Damn.
So these two guys,
Fuck.
I love the pictures of them.
Yeah.
Because they look cartoonish. Like, there's one picture of, I don't know which one it is, but he's got, like, the big burlap coat, the hat. He's got the fucking stick with the little bag on it. And I'm like, I know that comes from somewhere, but I feel like that's not right. I just imagine a bunch of like normal ass looking homeless people. I'm like, who the fuck is this guy?
That's really fucking dumb, but funny.
You seen anyone cutting off heads around here? Just pulls out his fucking sandwich out of the bag.
February 3rd, 1937, the upper half of an unidentified woman in her mid-20s washed ashore of Lake Erie. Her autopsy had determined that this was the first victim to not been killed by decapitation. The corpse was still headless, but the head was removed after death. The lower half of her torso was on shore months later, and her head was never recovered.
And this makes me think he's like escalating, because there's another thing that's going to come up later that's a first in the case.
Damn. And
it seems like he's escalating, or he's just trying new things.
Yeah.
Because we have, that one body of two before where he kills it right there.
Yeah.
Because I'm pretty sure that's him. And then this one where he just, I couldn't find how she died. I'm guessing blunt force trauma or something.
Something probably that may or may not have been quick.
Oh, I doubt it was fucking quick. If he's killing people by decapitation, I mean, decapitation is not like it is in the movies.
Nah, it takes a lot of force.
It's a lot of wham, 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 wham. And I'm pretty sure you're alive for most of it.
Well, it depends on where they get you on the neck. If they sever the vertebrae, you will actually not feel anything, because at that point, your head is severed from the rest of your body.
Oh, he's not starting there. He's not going to start at the point where they're not feeling anything.
Yeah.
He's definitely starting from like the front or like the side.
Yeah, just have them face up and just coming down. The blade, depending on the blade, can also go either all the way through to the bone or like midway, and he just has to yank it out and
it's stuck in there. It also depends on what he's cutting their heads off with. I don't know. Like, they didn't say what instrument. It could be anything from a fucking machete to a bone saw. Oh God, a bone saw. Oh Jesus Christ!
It gets even worse, folks.
Ugh. I didn't even think about it. The whole time I've been thinking machete.
Yeah.
But I feel like it makes more sense that he would use a bone saw.
Well, I guess it depends.
Well, we're going to see later on who the most likely suspect is. And given his occupation, I'm pretty sure it might actually be bone saw.
June 6, 1937, a human skull is found under the Lorraine Canage Bridge. Next to the skull was a burlap sack that contained the skeleton remains of who was determined to be a 40-year-old Rose Wallace. She had been dead for about a year before her body had been discovered. There is such a big gap between when the bodies were murdered and when they were found. Holy fuck.
There's a huge gap. If you look at like something as simple as the Wikipedia page on this, they have it set up where they have discover, and they have like the approximation of the kill order. It's all over the place. They are not finding these bodies like after they're killed. I should have put up I should have arranged them. I didn't, but I should have.
Yeah.
In like the order that they were probably killed in. But yeah, no, it's crazy. There's a huge discrepancy between find and when they were actually killed. July 6th, 1937. A piece of the next victim was spotted in the wake of a passing tugboat. In the next passing days, police recovered the rest of the corpse from the waters, save for the head from the Cuyahoga River. The abdomen had been gutted and the heart ripped out, something not yet seen in torso murder victims. So there's another escalation right there.
Damn.
This time he's gutting them and he ripped up. It's so weird.
He has no real MO aside from leaving the torso decapitated and mutilated.
Yeah, that's what's really crazy. That literally his only MO is the amputation. Because he's killing anyone and everyone. He's ripping hearts out. He's gutting. He's killing them on the spot. He's dumping them after killing them at a different location. He's dumping them places where they can be seen and places where they can't be seen. Like, it's insane. And that's the weirdest part, too, that I just thought about, is the fact that some of them are, like, right in the middle of everything. Like, just walkways in, like, a dumpster. And then some of them he's, obviously, like, the one that was under the bridge. Or ones that he throws in the river.
Damn.
So it's like, he doesn't even know if he wants his victims to be found or not.
He just puts them wherever and leaves them behind.
It's so crazy. This is one of the weirdest ones, I think.
April 8th, 1938. A man walking to work spotted what he first thought was a dead fish floating on the Cuyahoga River. But upon closer inspection, it was revealed to be the severed lower half of a leg. A month later, police pulled 2 burlap bags out of the river, containing both parts of the torso, a thigh, and her left foot. This was also the first time the coroner found drugs in the victim's system.
And another first.
So he drugs him now.
He might be drugging more than just this one, too.
Yeah, because who knows when he killed this one.
Exactly, yeah. No, that's what makes it so hard, is they're not finding them. Like, almost every serial killer case, the victims are always found in kill order, but not this one. They're being found in such a random order. You just so hard to determine, like, what happened. And that's 2 that were in the Cuyahoga River.
True.
So they might have been killed at the same time. How did they get in the river? Did he have a boat? Did he just throw them in the fucking river?
Yeet.
He just... Yeet.
Yeet.
It makes it even worse that this is Depression era, so I imagine a lot of people are turning the other cheek to a guy carrying gigantic burlap sacks and throwing them in the fucking river.
Yeah, they got their own issues to worry about.
Yeah, they do. On August 16th, 1938, a group of scrap collectors foraging through a dump site on East 9th and Lakeside find the upper torso of a woman. It was wrapped in a men's blue blazer and then wrapped again in a quilt. They also found her legs and arms in a box. They were wrapped in brown butcher paper and held together with rubber bands. The head was also wrapped in butcher paper. Some of the body parts almost looked as though they had been refrigerated. And while police searched for more body parts, they discovered another corpse. So they found 2 corpses.
Damn.
And
2 for 1.
Now, we only mentioned Elliot Ness once. I'm sure a lot of people might know who Elliot Ness is. But if you don't, we're about to tell you. But both of these bodies were found right outside Elliot Ness's office. Now, if the name Elliot Ness sounds familiar, that's because he and his team of law enforcement agents nicknamed the Untouchables were responsible for the takedown of Al Capone. During the time of the murders, he was the public safety director of Cleveland after cleaning up the police force, which is the character we hinted to in the beginning.
Oh, yeah.
He was the Gordon. I mean, he actually was kind of like Jim Gordon in this. He went to Cleveland because they had a fucking corrupt-ass police force, and he went in there and he cleaned it up.
Nice.
And so we got the public safety director. While he didn't have much involvement in the initial investigation, he later got a bit more involved after pressure from the mayor to put this under wraps. And he made a few choices that would be considered controversial in an attempt to put a stop to the murders. But in what could be considered a cruel twist of fate, the actions he would take in an attempt to save his reputation would end up being the stain on his reputation that would never wash away until well after his death.
Damn. This is getting interesting.
Yeah, now this is the case that ruins Super Cop Elliot Ness. This is literally the thing that fucks him over. On top of the increased pressure to catch the killer, it seems the 2 bodies being left nearly right outside of Ness's office seemed to be the start of this case pushing him over the edge.
On August 18th, 1938, a team of 35 officers and detectives with 11 squad cars, 2 police vans, and 30 fire trucks went into the area with the highest concentration of shanty shacks in the hobo jungle, gathering up around 63 people. I don't know what they were attempting to get everyone out, but what comes next? I certainly hope so. After cleaning out the shacks and searching for clues, on Ness's orders, they set fire to the shacks until they all burned to the ground. Ness was heavily criticized for this move, and rightfully so. Yeah, that seems like a very fucking dick move to do. I don't know why the fuck you burned them down.
See,
I get searching them, but burning them? Really?
he defended this. He defended this, saying some bullshit like there was two things. One, he thought that for some reason he thought the killer would be either in there or it would scare the killer away if he takes them all out. Hopefully all of them. I couldn't find if anyone died in this fire, but 63 seems like a small number.
Yeah, especially during the Great Depression.
Mm-hmm. So I think a lot of them fucking... I mean, granted, this wasn't the entire hobo jungle, which is their term for like the homeless, quote-unquote homeless camps. But yeah, he raises it all. And the second part was he claimed to... Because after this, they're all arrested for being homeless. And he claims this was a move to get all their fingerprints so they can be identified. Which sounds like bullshit. Sounds like total bullshit.
Yeah.
I think the Unsolved guys said it best. So they're like, he was probably just sitting there like rubbing his face, looks at his hands. Fingerprints. That's why we did this. Fingerprints.
Oh man, that's sad.
Yeah,
so sad.
Yeah, you can see this case is already breaking him. A guy who moves to Cleveland to stop the corrupt police, burns a homeless camp down, and arrests everyone for being homeless after he burns their homes.
Oh no shit, the fucking homeless now.
I know, right? Well, we weren't homeless before you fucking came in.
And now we are. Now we fucking hate you.
Oh, God, it only gets worse from here.
Oh, of course it does.
Yeah.
The first person suspected of being the killer. I swore I can talk sometimes.
Oh, this one's going to piss you off, too, so everyone be warned. This is some West Memphis 3 bullshit.
Oh, fucking hell.
Quick side note. Did you know there's a whole community of people who still believe that the West Memphis 3 did it?
Really?
Yeah.
Of course they do.
I know.
Why the
That's a topic for another time, but I had to throw that out there. I just learned that today.
Oh, it pisses me off so much.
I'm so fucking mad.
Alright then, let's get to it.
Alright.
First person suspected of being the killer and taken into custody was Frank Dolezal.
Mm-hmm.
Frank was a 52-year-old bricklayer. Frank was arrested by the county sheriff in July of 1939 for the murder of victim Florence Palillo. Frank had lived with Florence as well as also known victims Rose Wallace and Edward Androsci. Frank confessing to murder. I call bullshit.
Yeah.
I call some serious fucking bullshit on this.
Let's just.
So just because he knew, correlation does not equal causation.
Oh, okay. This one pisses me off so much. So he confessed.
Yeah.
Confessed.
Yeah. Serious fucking confession going on.
But yeah, and literally that is literally the only thing they brought him in on, is because he lived with her. And again, remember, this is Depression era. This is like not nearly as bad, but it's pretty close to, like, remember back in like the Jack the Ripper times when everyone would like go into a house and you get like they're like 5 cents so you could sit on someone's floor. Yep. It's kind of like that, where people will go and like, hey, can I room with you? So like, no shit, they probably lived together. And the fucking I don't know what Rose did, but Edward Androsci was a fucking hospital orderly. So
damn, really?
Yeah, no, he probably knew him too. But yeah, that's it. That's fucking it. That's the only reason they arrested this motherfucker. Actually, I'm not going to call him motherfucker. He's an innocent man.
Yeah.
And it's only going to get worse from here.
He confessed to murdering Florence.
Big
but
quotes.
later, reconciling his confession, saying he had been beaten into confession. Yeah, I imagine he probably was.
Yeah.
He suffered 6 broken ribs while in police custody.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, Frank remained incarcerated for the murder, and in August, Frank committed suicide. Of course he did.
No, he did not commit suicide.
Yeah.
So mad I just hit my microphone.
Oh,
Yeah.
he committed suicide before his trial.
Mm-hmm.
He had been hung in his cell from a hook. A hook that was 5'7" off the ground. 5 feet 7 inches off the ground. Which makes the whole thing even more fishy because Frank was 5'8". 5'8"!
Yeah, so this
But
man...
he was hanging an inch above the ground.
No, he was taller than the hook. So the hook was right here, right here. So he wasn't even hanging on it. Like, he was, hanging because he was slumped.
Yeah.
But I don't think that's really how that works. And
Well, someone probably did it then. Someone else.
Oh, the cops did it. The cops beat his ass to get the confession, and when he started saying, no, I take this back, you made me do this, they fucking killed him before he could take it to trial.
Of course.
Because they were desperate to wrap this up. Something that's never happened again after this. Just kidding, it happens all the fucking time so much that there's a docu-series on Netflix about false confessions.
Yep.
Confessions are worthless. And honestly, at this point, if you have a confession with no evidence,
don't say shit.
It shouldn't even be a thing. Like, I don't care if you confess. If there's no evidence, it shouldn't... this shit pisses me off so much.
I get what you mean, though. It is seriously fucked. Yeah, sometimes.
No. It's like... It's just... It blows my mind that you can take that to court. Like, yeah, there's no evidence on this guy, but he confessed. And, like... There's so many people on death row who are there because of a false confession.
Oh, yeah.
I think it was something like, I want to say 80% of the people that were later exonerated from death row thanks to DNA evidence that wasn't available at the time confessed to the murders that they were there for. Even though the DNA evidence proves that they weren't the murderer or whatever they were there for.
Because they probably used some kind of shitty tactics to make them believe, gaslight their asses, basically, believing that they actually did it.
Oh, yeah.
Which is, happens.
Yeah, and of course, this happened under Ness's watch.
Of course.
Which it blows my mind that this guy can be considered such a super cop. And then, because of, I get it to an extent. You just took down Capone. You moved a fucking corrupt-ass police system. You cleaned its ass with a fucking bidet. And then this guy's running around like the fucking Riddler, throwing corpses everywhere, and you can't catch him. So, I get that you're like, fuck, I was made, and now this motherfucker. But that's no reason to burn down people's homes and falsely arrest someone, and then even if Ness didn't know that the police officers, which definitely did, kill this man, he's still liable.
Oh yeah, definitely. They're his men.
Yeah. Oh my god. So yeah. Okay. So now let's decompress a little bit, and let's get on to the second and the most likely. I wrote victim.
Yeah, I saw that.
I did this really late. Suspect. So, the second suspect, the most likely suspect, and Elliot Ness's secret suspect, and we'll get into why it was a secret suspect here in a little bit, was a man named Francis E. Sweeney. Francis E. Sweeney was a doctor who practiced in Kingsbury Run. He was also a military doctor during World War I who was said to be very knowledgeable in amputations. And his wife later noted on his alcoholism, abusiveness, and his long disappearances. Shortly after the final murders, Sweeney checked himself into a mental hospital, and in 1956 he was diagnosed as a schizophrenic. And another thing to take into consideration here is anytime before the 80s or 90s even, Just know that schizophrenic doesn't mean what it means today.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Schizophrenic just meant that you had a mental problem.
Yep.
So, I mean, that's just...
a very broad statement.
It really shouldn't be.
Broad.
Yeah, no, everyone's just a schizophrenic. You're sad all the time. You must be a schizo.
Your wife talks back to you. Schizophrenic.
Ah, the only cure for a schizophrenic like her is the back of your hand. Which I guarantee. Oh God,
we
yeah.
must do an episode on lobotomy.
Oh, we do,
or something like that.
There is a whole episode's worth of content on lobotomies. The big thing is, how are they allowed to happen?
Because fuck medical practice, they didn't know shit back then. They were still practicing.
Not even that, but like, you're totally right on the whole, like, your wife's being a bitch? Well, bring her in and get a lobotomy. Like,
yeah.
What?
It's fucked, but it happens.
God. And people want to go back in time.
No, thank you.
No fucking thank you. No.
As a Mexican, no thank you. Especially that. No thank you.
Yeah, I know. I would be the best off, and I still don't want to go back there. Jesus Christ. In 1938, Ness secretly took Sweeney to the old Cleveland Hotel and kept him there for 10 to 14 days. 3 of those days were just for him to sober up.
How was he even allowed to take him out of the mental institute?
This is before. He checked in 50, I think.
Okay.
Or no, shortly after this, he checked in. So, but he wasn't allowed to do this either. Even though there weren't Miranda rights at this point, this was still out of the line for a cop to do.
Yeah.
Even though cops do a lot of things that are out of line for them to do. But that's a topic for another time, even though we just ranted about that for like 5 minutes.
Yep.
But no, so he took him to this hotel, and he left him there to sober up, and then Leonard Keeler, the inventor of the polygraph test, was called in to test Sweeney, and both times he was tested, he failed. Keeler told Ness, "That's your man. I might as well throw my machine out the window if I say anything different." Even though polygraph tests aren't lie detector tests, and they can be very well,
Yeah.
not right. This was the man who invented this thing, who seemed to be pretty dead set that this was the guy that did it. So, at this point, you might be asking, okay, why is it... You took Frank in for knowing victims.
Yep.
Why didn't this guy go into jail, you might be asking? Let me tell you why.
Ah, okay.
That's because the cousin of this man was a man named Martin L. Sweeney, who was a congressman.
Ah, of course.
Mm-hmm. And because of his political ties, Ness did not have enough evidence or he didn't feel he had enough evidence to bring this.
Evidence fucking matters.
I know. I love how evidence matters now. Because this time, there might be repercussions if something goes wrong. Which is fucking bullshit. It makes me so mad. I know I said we were decompressing, but I'm mad again. That Frank. I just imagine Frank was probably, for 30s standards, a good guy.
We hope.
Probably was. I don't know.
May have been an alcoholic.
It makes it easier to digest. Actually, no, it makes it harder to digest.
Yeah.
But I just imagine it was just this fucking 50-year-old dude's like, oh, where am I going? Oh, I didn't do nothing. Wham, wham, wham. Okay, I did it. Stop hurting me.
Yeah.
And then you got this piece of shit who's just a fucking alcoholic. Let's get a little more to this, because I do think Sweeney was the guy.
Yeah.
So as we mentioned, he was a doctor.
Mm-hmm.
And he had a place of medical practice on Kingsbury Run. And there was something I read where there was, I believe it was a mortuary right across the street or like right next to his place of business that gave him the okay to practice medical procedures on cadavers.
Damn.
So that could be the place where he takes these people to murder them. That could be the murder
True.
spot. Because, remember, that one woman was found with drugs in her system.
Yeah.
And because the kill date to find date was so screwy, I'm sure a lot of the drugs left these bodies' systems or were undetectable by the time they were found. I'm willing to bet most of them had drugs in their system. They probably came into his shop and asked for something.
Yeah.
He gave him the other thing, drugged them, brought them down to the mortuary where he fucking fucked them up.
More likely.
Mm-hmm. And, I mean, I don't want to blame war-related mental illness on this, but you also have to remember, this was right after World War I. Mental health wasn't a thing. Literally everything was schizophrenia.
Shell shock.
This guy might have had some kind of severe shell shock, or he might have just been a total piece of shit who learned, I like cutting up bodies.
Yeah.
I want to keep doing this after the war.
Well, fucking hell.
Yeah. There's a myth that we just need to get out of the way right now, since we're going to be talking about this other case in probably a few months from now. Some people believe that this was also the guy that killed Elizabeth Short, the Black Dahlia. I'm just going to I'm going to probably bring it up again when we do this episode, but I don't think it was him. Just because the only thing that is the same is that they were both cleaned up and drained of blood, but her head was still attached. She's totally
else was, yeah.
And he didn't bisect. Like, he didn't cut around there. He would cut, like, the legs off.
Yeah.
So they would be the full torso. So, and I think he died, like, very short. Well, no, because he was diagnosed in 1956, but that was after she died. But he was in the mental asylum.
Yeah,
he didn't leave.
That happened.
Mm-hmm.
So he couldn't have done it either.
He could leave, but it was said that he only left for like 2 days,
Okay.
which is not enough time to go from Cleveland to LA, pick this woman out, and do all this, and then go back to the mental asylum.
True.
So I'm just throwing that out there right now. But yeah, unfortunately, again, this is an unsolved one, so we don't have a nice conclusion.
It is a messed up one, no, for sure.
Yeah. This one pissed me off a little bit.
I can see why too. I can see why. It pissed me off too.
Yeah, no, I just shit like this pisses me off. Like I was re-listening to some podcast episodes about the West Memphis 3, and I was getting mad about that, and I discovered that there's a whole group of people who still think they did it.
Of course, because why the fuck not?
Their only thing is that this is the end of the episode, so I'm gonna ramble.
Go for it.
The only thing they got one of the three, much like Frank, into a confession that he later recanted.
Yeah, because they beat his ass.
I don't think they beat him, but this guy was a little...
Oh no, wait, they were basically tormenting him.
Mm-hmm. They were tormenting him, promising him, just tell us this and you'll be free.
Yeah.
Obviously not. But all the people that still think they did it were like, why would he confess if they didn't do it?
Because he's a kid. He's scared as shit.
They were all kids. Fucking, one of them was, like, saying shit like, oh, yeah, it was like, he's mouthing off, saying some dumb shit, but he was, like, 18.
Yeah.
They were all kids. I think the worst part was, the other two were, like, laughing during the trial, and they were like, oh, this is fucking stupid. Yeah, look at the dead kid. Because they're a bunch of edgy kids. Yeah. But they also believed in justice. They're like, we were having a good time with it because we're like, we didn't do it.
Yeah.
They can't convict us. And they did.
Yep.
So, yeah, it's fucked up. This whole world's fucked up.
Really is. Fucking is.
Alright. Well, I think we'll have to do a more lighthearted episode next week.
Yeah, we'll try.
Something a little funnier, maybe.
Maybe another bad creepypasta one.
Bad creepypasta, or just something kind of whimsical.
Whimsical.
Like Spring-Heeled Jack.
That little bitch. I want to be Jack the Ripper. Oh, that's funny.
Well,
All right, guys.
thank you all for listening.
Thank you.
Again, make sure to follow us on all the bullshits. Follow us on Twitter at Hecate_podcast. Email us at hecatesdoorwaypod@gmail.com. And we have a Patreon.
Ooh.
Yes.
We don't got much on it, though.
No.
Not yet.
Just a $1 tier right now. But if you subscribe to that $1 tier, you are an official member of the cult of Hecate, so that's pretty cool.
Hey.
Yeah. If you want to do that.
I got us the 3 fates.
Yeah. We would be very much appreciative that you would bring us that much closer to us doing this full time.
Praise the moon.
Praise the moon. And of course, as we grow, there'll be more. We'll add more stuff to it. We'll do, like, when we get merch, we'll do merch giveaways. We'll do shout outs. We'll do whatever the fuck.
Yeah, we'll do random dumb shit. We'll give away that skull.
You know what? Yes, I will. I mean, it's not really worth much.
Yeah, it's just not styrofoam, but
Plastic.
Yeah.
Now we'll do some cool shit, but for now it's just $1 because we're still small.
Yeah.
I don't think we're worth more than $1 right now.
Barely $1, honestly.
But if you give, that would be sick. I will send you a digital hug, digital fist bump, digital tip to tip. I don't know.
Whatever you request.
Whatever you want. All right. We'll leave the links to all that in the show description, of course.
Yep.
As Gabe smacks his microphone cords.
Fuck you.
I think that'll be the note to end it on.
Yep.
Alright, thank you guys for listening.
Thank you. Blessed be all.
Hail Satan.
Goodbye. Bye.